Welcome to the FTA training video for budget revisions. In this video, we will describe the processes used to create a budget revision in the Federal Transit Administration's Transit Award Management System, or TrAMS for short. This video is intended for recipients of FTA funding awards. If you have questions related to guidance or factors specific to your funding award, please see the FTA Recipient Toolkit, FTA Circular Resources, or contact the FTA Help Desk for more information. In this video training, we will provide an overview of budget revisions, show the different budget modifications, and provide examples, demonstrate how to create a budget revision in TrAMS, review the budget revision approval process, and provide some things to consider when performing a budget revision. As described in the Award Management Circular 5010.1F, a budget revision is any change of budget allocations within the award and the overall award budget that has minor impact on the budget allocations of the original award. Budget revisions may be made as long as there is no change in the recipient, purpose, scope codes, and federal funding of the grant, regardless of the fiscal year the funds were appropriated. Budget revisions must be consistent with the activities contained in an approved STIP and satisfy applicable NEPA requirements. Useful life of new equipment must be addressed in the budget revision, as applicable. Users with the submitter or developer role will have the ability to create and submit a budget revision in TrAMS. Budget modifications performed in TrAMS includes modifying FTA funding across existing scopes, modifying funding within an existing scope, modifying non-FTA funding for an existing scope, modifying the quantities for an existing ALI, and modifying the period of performance end date. Budget revision examples. Budget revisions to existing ALIs. Award AB-90-234 includes a scope code for vehicles, 111-00, with the ALI to purchase 40-foot buses, 11-12-01, and a scope code for stations, stops, terminals, 113-00, with the ALI for construction of a bus terminal, 11-33-01. The construction costs for the station are expected to be higher than originally anticipated, and there is a surplus in the vehicle line item because the vehicle costs were less than anticipated. After determining if the request meets FTA approval, you may request a budget revision to move funds from ALI 11-12-01 to 11-33-01 to cover added construction expenses. Next example. Adding an ALI to an existing scope code. Award AB 90234 includes a scope code for stations, stops, and terminals, and funds are allocated to acquire route signing, 11.32.09. However, the recipient determines that it prefers to use the funds to construct passenger shelters, 11.33.10, which is an activity within the scope, 113-00. With prior FTA approval, the recipient may request a budget revision to add the ALI 11.33.10 and shift the funds from 11.32.09. In addition, the recipient must confirm that the approved STIP includes construction of bus shelters and has satisfied applicable NEPA requirements. Budget revisions are changes to the activity line items in the budget and do not change the scope of work. How to create a budget revision in TrAMS.
As an FTA recipient logged in with the submitter or developer role, identify the award you would like to create a budget revision. Navigate to related actions. This is the location where you can begin to create your budget revision. Some things to consider before you get started is to review the budget change history. Here you can review any last actions that has been taken on the award. Select the revision number and view print. Select the blue hyperlink to review the information. Next, review the award fund status. This will display any financial transactions that has occurred on the award, including obligations, deobligations, disbursements, and any unliquidated balances. Select Create Budget Revision. This will bring you to the Budget Revision Details page. You can navigate back to the award by selecting the blue hyperlink award number. You can review any guidance on budget revisions and award management requirements circular by accessing the Regulations and Guidance hyperlink. Select the reason for your budget revision. I will be modifying FTA funding across existing scopes. You can also choose between modifying FTA funding within existing scope, modifying non-FTA funding for existing scopes, modifying quantities for the existing ALI, or modifying a period of performance end date. Enter the budget revision description. You can review any history of comments, if any. Select Cancel to exit out, or select Create Budget Revision to move forward. The budget revision has now been created. If the purpose of your budget revision is to modify the period of performance end date, select Amendments and Budget Revisions. Select the award number. Navigate to Related Actions. And select Application Details. Scroll down to the period of performance. Here, you will be able to update your period of performance end date. Select Save.
Next, we will cover modifying an activity line item.
Modify your budget revision activity line items. Select the blue hyperlink award number to navigate back to the award. Review the funding summary, which includes the funding source, the FTA award amount, and any differences. And view the existing line items. For the purpose of this budget revision, I will transfer 500 from scope 114 and add it into scope 113. Select the line item to update. The line item information will display. You can update the quantity, the extended budget description, select if a third-party contractor will be used, yes or no. An award FTA funding amount and a revised amount will show. I will change to 500. If there's any revised local share amount, you will enter it here. However, if the local match ratio changes, Consider completing an amendment. The milestone location is read only. However, if you were to add a line item, you will have the ability to enter information. Select Save, or you can select Cancel to exit out, or you can select Close to close out completely. I will select line item 113 to add in the 500. The line item information displays. Once more, I can revise the quantity. You can update the extended budget description. I will add in the 500. And again, if the local match ratio changes, please consider an amendment. The milestone area is read only, and save the line item. Now my revised FTA amount is 500 deducted from scope 114 and 500 added to scope 113. Select Close. I will now validate and submit my budget revision. The next step is select the blue hyperlink to review the information. You can cancel, or you can continue with the submission. You will be presented with a question. Will this budget revision change the size or physical characteristics of the items in the activity line items? You select yes, or you select no. Again, you can go back to make any updates, or you can cancel out or continue with your submission. The last step, you'll have the opportunity here to select the blue hyperlink to return to the award. You can modify the budget revision reasons if necessary, modify the description. The budget revision funding summary will display the updates, and enter submission remarks. You can cancel or go back to make any updates. Select Continue with Submission. The budget revision has now been submitted. Select Close. Select Summary. And you will now see the application status with active budget revision under review.
FTA Awarding Office will review the budget revision and either approve or disapprove the request. FTA may return the budget revision request to the recipient for additional information or corrections. If returned, the revision will revert to active budget revision in progress status in the system. Once the FTA office has approved the budget revision and completed the financial action, the award will return to an active executed status. Recipients are reminded to wait at least 3 to 5 business days after approval to ensure the financial transactions have passed through all of FTA's financial management systems. In conclusion of the training, some things to consider prior and during the budget revision is to review the last actions taken on the award by selecting related actions and viewing the budget change history. Ask yourself, will these actions move you from a budget revision to an amendment? Determine if you are keeping with the original scope of work or adding a new scope. FTA review of a proposed budget revision meeting certain criteria may result in a recommendation to undertake a grant amendment. Your FTA regional office will make this determination during its review. Review the status of obligations, disbursements, and available, unliquidated balances. Thank you for viewing the budget revision training video. For additional information, please see the TrAMS Recipient User Guide, located on the FTA Transit Award Management webpage under the TrAMS User Management Information section. As always, if you have questions or concerns, please contact the FTA Application Help Desk using the information seen here. Have a good day.